Hello again, YouTube, and I'm back with an update here on my efforts to figure out how to make my own fuel. It's been a learning process, and there's been those that have been, kind of helped me out. Well, one in particular, he came up with had a suggestion. When it comes to the condenser, he recommended that I come in from the bottom as opposed to coming in from the top here. And I tried out his suggestion, and I agree with it. The suggestion worked perfectly. And I say this because, as he explained it to me, when it comes to the bottom, comes from the bottom, the condenser has to fill up all the way, and then before it goes out into this particular part of the reflex column here. So essentially, that means the condenser will always be, or the condenser components will always be submerged in cool water. So and I'll get better flow as far as when I start filling up with the ethanol. But anyway, just again, just an update here. I have discovered that the pure ethanol that you want, is the more pure that you want it, you really have to control the temperature going into this particular part of the reflux column. And when I say control the temperature, the tighter the control you have, the purer the product. I have actually had a product up to 95 and 95 or 96% pure. I mean, depending on the temperature and so forth. But let's say 95% pure alcohol, because I kept the temperature at this level here at 173 or 174 degrees. However, I've discovered that, by keeping the temperature at that, and the purer you get it, obviously the less, product you're going to get as far as ethanol, because the less water vapor you're going to get. And so, I've discovered as far as, in my own distillation. And also down here, as far as the boiler, I've also discovered you kind of want to keep that temperature at, around between 190 to maybe even 210 degrees. And I say that because, you want this thing hot, okay? You definitely want it hot. You don't want it to cool down on you. And because by going up this reflux column, okay, when it hits this level right here, this acts as a gateway, okay? It's a type of a gateway, so that only certain vapors, based on their chemical makeup, only certain vapor is going to get through. Like, for instance, if the temperature is at 174 degrees, obviously that's above the boiling point, or the vaporization point of alcohol. So it's going to go up the column and out into the condenser, and then where it will be cooled down, and it will come down. It will cool down or condense into a liquid. If the temperature is 174 degrees here, then, or anything below 212 degrees, that's considered water. So it's going to just keep going up, back down the column, where it's going to vaporize and re-vaporize over and over again. That's what they say about reflux. It'll come down, it'll condense, and it will vaporize, come back up and condense and vaporize again in a constant motion, over and over, like a circular motion, over and over again. So as it does that, that's called reflux. That's the reflux action. But anyway, I'm still learning about this. So far, I'm able to produce, at least with this particular 8-gallon still. It's 8 gallons, but I'm not, you don't put 8 gallons in it, because you need that space. So if anything, you'll put maybe 5.5 to 6 gallons in there. And then of this 5 gallons, 5.5 or 6 gallons, you could probably get close to, or almost a gallon of ethanol at different proofs. At the first run, obviously, or the first parts of it, the proof is going to be higher. And as you continue your run, what they call a run, your proof will, get lower and lower, because as your alcohol content boils out of the chamber here. But anyway, just looking at it, it's I've decided, well, 190 proof is great. But it's not to burn it in your car, to mix it with gasoline. I'm going to see if 180 proof will work. or 185, close to it, or something like that. But anyway, just so that I can, make, the idea here is we're trying to get as much ethanol out of this thing as we possibly can, that is flammable. So, I'm trying different things, and I've been asked the question of, well, how much does it cost to make, 1 gallon? And, is it fuel economical? Well, I can't really answer that question because, I'm still learning. And when you're learning, you make mistakes. And when you make mistakes, obviously you spend more than you should, or but once I figure things out, once I really get it down, I won't say to a science, but when I really get a handle on it, then I could come up with some numbers, and I can be accurate. Because the thing is, I don't want to be like some people and say, well, no, it's really economical, or it's not really economical based on my opinion and my bias. No, let's get the real numbers. But that can only come after you know what you're doing, I won't say you perfected the technique, but as soon as as soon as you learned enough to make an informed opinion. Okay, and I'm talking about myself. So I'm playing with the temperature gauge. I was mistaken on the other video. It only goes up to like maybe 10 and a half, and not 11. It's got 11 on the dial, but you can only go to like 10 and a half, which is fine. I mean, it's a 1500 watt element, and the temperature gauge, it kind of stays around close to, I don't know, 210, almost 210, which is fine. And I've got now this thing right here, this wireless temperature gauge. Yeah, this thing right here, you definitely want to get one of those. Right now, the temperature at the top of the column is 188 degrees, and this is, like my third container of ethanol, and this is a sign that says you're basically coming to the end of your run. Now, this is a good tool. I really like it. It has a stopwatch, it has the current temperature, and it has a temperature set point to where I can have it alert me when it reaches a certain temperature. And during the early stages of the run, what I do is I'll set it I'll set it for 173. And as it begins to heat up, and when it hits that, then I'll come out and turn on the water and keep the temperature cool. But right now it's at 187 degrees, and again, it's well below 212. But this tells me that the proof is not 90. It's not going to be 190 proof. Because there will be some water vapor in there, so it should be above 180, okay, or close to it. And it's not 190, but it will still burn in a combustion engine. In reality, all you need is between 160 and 180 proof to burn alcohol in your engine. Now, will 180 mix with gasoline? Not as well as 190 proof, not as well, okay? But I'm going to try it out and see what happens. Again, I'm coming to the end of my run now, so that's why the temperature is like that. Again, now this temperature probe, I do recommend, if you're going to do this, get you a wireless gauge here, so that you won't have to sit out in a hot shed to do this. Okay, all right, take care, YouTube.